Honorable Dr. Danister L. Pereira. He is the Registrar, Ayurvedic Medical Council, Sri Lanka. He is the member of Presidential Transports National Health Policy, member of Ayurvedic Drug Formulary Board and Technical Advisor of Ayurveda Drug Evaluation Committee and member of Ayurveda Education and Hospital Board and Secretary to the Steering Committee of Study and Research on Indigenous Medicines for HIV/AIDS in Sri Lanka. He has specialized in the field of social anthropology related to ethnobotany and former director of Sri Lanka Conservation and Sustainable Use of Medicinal Plants Project. He has several publications to his name. He also is a degree of Ayurvedic degree holder and a postgraduate degree in ethnobotany. Sir, I request you to deliver your presentation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, distinguished panelists, distinguished delegates and colleagues, I am proud to be here today in this great occasion representing Government of Sri Lanka, especially the Ministry of Indigenous Medicine, to contribute this Second World Congress on status of Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry in Sri Lanka. Actually, first we have to go through what is the share of my country in global scenario. If you see the tiny island beneath the Indian subcontinent, which had been bridged during the Dwapara era, according to Ramayana, actually, which is called the Pearl of Indian Ocean, had been reviewed by WHO Review Committee on global status on herbal medicine. I will go through first 4-5 slides to show what is the global status according to WHO pertaining to Sri Lankan traditional medicine. The source is National Policy on Traditional Medicine and Regulation of Herbal Medicines, 2005 report. The national policy is available in Sri Lanka, National Policy on Indigenous Systems of Medicine. And laws and regulations on traditional medicine, which is called number 31 of 1961 Ayurveda Act, which was the legislation of traditional medicine in my country. National program. We have a national program according to WHO, and the National Office for Traditional Medicine, we have a National Office for Traditional Medicine, which is called Department of Ayurveda, and also which is guided by the Ministry of Indigenous Medicine, which can be the first ministry for the indigenous medicine in the region. And the regulation on herbal medicine. Unfortunately, this indicates the WHO report, none. But that is not true. I think this is a misinformation which is mentioned in this WHO report. We have regulations and we have enforced regulations to regulate herbal medicine and herbal market as well as Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry. And the herbal medicine registration, but that also indicates the none, but there is registration system for the herbal medicine as well as for the Ayurvedic medicine. Now, what is the traditional medicine according to Sri Lankan law? Now, traditional medicine is a combination of original Ayurveda with the Sri Lankan indigenous medicine which was existed long before, and some influences of Siddha and Unani. That is called the Sri Lankan traditional medicine. Sri Lankan traditional medicine is not merely an Ayurvedic system, but it's a combination of indigenous medicine, indigenous system of medicine, as well as some other ethnomedical inputs from the provincial areas. And the legal definition, Ayurveda in Sri Lanka, includes Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and Deshiya Chikitsa, which is called indigenous medicine, as well as all the Asian systems of medicine which are recognized by respected governments. Now, what is the policy of pharmaceutical industry? The government policy is accreditation and certification of quality standards for IM, indigenous medical pharmaceutical products. Objective is to institutionalize a functional mechanism in order to assure quality, safety, and efficacy of IM pharmaceuticals. We have the program for quality, safety, and efficacy of IM pharmaceuticals, and we have a project for that, development of IM pharmaceutical industry. An expected output is availability of quality, safety, safe and efficacious IM medicines increase at an affordable cost. That is the government policy in synopsis. Actually, I want to elaborate a little information on what is the official structure of Sri Lankan indigenous medicine sector. We have a Ministry of Indigenous Medicine, we have a Department of Ayurveda, we have an Ayurveda Formulary Board, a National Ayurveda Research Center, National Institute of Traditional Medicine, and State Drug Corporation, Ayurveda Drug Corporation, and National Medicinal Plants Cultivation Project. Those are the government institutes which are related with this pharmaceutical industry. And there are some national initiatives which are responsible for the Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry. Ayurveda Act, which was enforced in 1961, and Presidential Task Force recommendations on national health policy, and national policy on indigenous systems of medicine, which was declared by the government in 2002. The NASTEC contribution with the help of the Science and Technology Ministry, which is called National Herbal Healthcare Program, and the Integrated Development Plan for Indigenous Systems of Medicine, that is called 6-year plan of the ministry. And also we have a national drug policy, which is operated under the Ministry of Health, which is not included the indigenous system of medicine, but still that is called national drug policy. We are struggling for that. That cannot be called national drug policy without including indigenous system, but it is still called national drug policy. And proposed act for Ayurveda drugs, cosmetics, and devices, which is forthcoming. And there are some definitions actually we need to, I'm not going to give the definitions here, just I want to list out what are the things to be defined in this industry. Herbs and single ingredients, the raw materials. Actually, the raw materials are the field which are bearing burning problems in this industry, especially for my country. 60% of raw materials imported from India, mainly from India and from Nepal and from Pakistan and from other countries, some countries like China. Other rest of collected from wild. But the government started a project for cultivating at commercial scale for supplying the raw materials which are viable for the farmers, economically viable for the farmers. I would like to bring out some issues which are related to raw materials, some legal barriers, international as well as regional and national. Now there are some raw materials like Rauwolfia serpentina, Trichorrhizia, as Jatamansi. They are globally restricted by the CITES. For all the countries, we are facing these kind of problems because of the global conventions like CITES. And also, we are suffering from lack of more than 26 herbal raw materials due to the export policy of India. Environmental friendly export policy of India has banned more than 40 herbal plant sources, plant parts to be exported from India. Among them, there are 26 essential plant material which are not grown in Sri Lanka. That is the problem. Especially, we are trying to propagate some medicinal plants, but still we are facing long-term plant sources like red sandalwood, Pterocarpus santalinum. Now there are some definitions we need to be clarified. Now we are talking about pharmaceuticals, cosmeceuticals, nutraceuticals, bioactive foods, botanical medicine. So many words, technical terms, jargons are coming to the market. But we need to be very clear about the definitions, nationally as well as internationally. That is the diversity of the market presentation. Herbal healthcare products, nutraceuticals, phytoceuticals, botanical medicines, functional foods, health foods, dietary supplements, herbal supplements, medical foods, bioactive foods, symbiotics, prebiotics, cosmeceuticals, natural products, personal care products, beauty care products. There are so many terms coming to the market which needs some kind of definition. In my country, I would like to show you the scope of the regulatory system. Now, the provisions which are enacted by the Ayurveda Act is in operation. And there is a national pharmacopoeia which is gazetted. And the pharmacy regulations are enforced according to the Ayurveda Act. An accreditation system of manufacturers adopted according to the human resources and skilled manpower, technical capacity, manufacturing process, machineries and equipments, standard operating SOPs, product development, so on. It is the accreditation system and certification system is adopted according to various criteria. And we have a policy on imported medicine, which is very useful to a country like India, because India is the main exporter or the main exporter to Sri Lankan market in Ayurvedic medicine, in the field of Ayurvedic medicine. We have opened our market for Indian quality products as a policy, as a principle, especially for the genuine companies, genuine institutions which have a reputed range of products. We have opened the market. Already we have opened the market. The basic requirement, only the acceptance or the recognition of the Indian government. If the Indian government has approved any Indian drug, that means the Sri Lanka would recognize it is for the sale, because we think that India is ahead us. We follow the Indian guidelines always. We know that India always give the leadership in this sector. Therefore, we always give the green light for the Indian products. There's no restriction, there's no barrier for that. We invite all the quality, genuine products to our market. There's no problem, because we are in our country, we are expecting to treat our people, or to give the general public the good quality products. Always is, that is the policy of government. And for the classical Ayurvedic products, there's a small restriction. Because of the local trade policy, if any classical product which can be manufactured within the country is not allowed to import. That is the policy. Proprietary products are always welcome, but classical products which can be or which are manufactured within the country by a local manufacturer, always restricted, because that is for the local beneficiaries. And there are herbal medicines which are not considered as Ayurvedic medicine, but still we are thinking of having some kind of guidelines to give approval for the good herbal products. And what is the approach of Sri Lankan policy? First is the client satisfaction, the consumer protection, public confidence, industrial upgrading and updating. Because even in the import market, when we are opening the import market for the quality products, we think that it will upgrade and update our industry, local industry, because there will be a good, when there is a good competitor, the local manufacturers will upgrade their industry. That is one aim. And sector advancement, that is one approach, uplifting the image of the Sri Lankan traditional medicine and Ayurveda. And the market standards, scientific validation, and international confirmation. At last, the quality, but not least, efficacy and safety. Those are the approach of the Sri Lankan policy of pharmaceutical industry. What are the expected outcomes? Now, as Mr. Sajwan mentioned, good field collection practices adopted by WHO, good agricultural practices, good manufacturing practices, SOPs, quality control, system certification like ISO, or maybe we could definitely develop a system certification for Ayurvedic products with our identity, because we are following some kind of a common system certification. But I would like to propose a system certification which is bearing the Ayurvedic identity, because there are some constraints. Now, in some countries, they don't want to import the drugs which contains the raw materials extracted from wild, because they have environmental friendly policies. There are some countries, they prefer the products which contains naturally grown wild species or raw materials. There are some, we have to clarify these things in a system certification which is adopted for the Ayurveda especially. And national pharmacopoeia, I would like to actually propose in this Congress, we can have a regional pharmacopoeia or a South Asian pharmacopoeia. Because I know that India can lead this to have a pharmacopoeia, to prepare a pharmacopoeia which can be accepted by the regional countries, especially the South Asian countries, especially the Sri Lanka. And product information, force market surveillance, and pharmacovigilance. Those are the expected outcomes of the policy. We suppose that there's no output without policy support. There are some policy constraints still. There are some implementing agencies having some weaknesses of capacity, or maybe they are lacking of human resources and statutory powers not properly implemented or enforced by the authorities sometimes. And we are seeking for a national quality control laboratory. We are setting up it, and multi-sectoral coordination and functional network and research and development. These are the expected, these are the some output we are seeking for. Lastly, threats and problems. We have identified several threats and problems which are available in market. The first thing is misinformation. There are so many misinformations available, like raising regarding Ayurvedic medicine, because when this is getting popular, naturally misinformation can come up. Some of them are commercially driven misinformations. And adulterance is a great problem. Adulterance. Maybe substitutes, sometimes we use substitutes as a solution, but sometimes it can become a problem. And there are some spurious products, misbranding, quasi-Ayurvedic products. There are products, they look like Ayurvedic products, but they are not in the market. Unhygienic implications, unethical promotions in the market through the advertising. Now in my country we have, yes, 1 minute. Unethical promotions are restricted by the law, and that is the, okay, thank you very much for the patience listening, and may all long live, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Danister Pereira, for your presentation on share of Sri Lanka in traditional Indian system of medicine. Sir, your views have given us the confidence that Ayurveda has crossed the Indian continent, and since it is a Shashwat Shastra, it has established itself in Sri Lanka also.